I've lived the vast development in music technology the last 25 years. I remember the first time I went into the recording studio and imagined what we could do with the sound and how the different ways we could process the sound in order to bring our music out to the listener. It was a great fascination for what power lies in the use of a sound studio in order to make your found music. So at that time, when I first started 25 years ago, the studio was really expensive. It was way beyond what we think of as a sound studio today, because you had to use all our saving monies to go in there just for a couple of hours to try to make our music come out right. The vast development of the music technology has made it possible for everyone to have their own home studio on their laptop today. So it's quite a different way of thinking of the sound studio as a concept. But what we see in the software development when it comes to sound technology is that the same conventions that we used almost 60, 70 years ago are still valuable in the studio and how we produce music. That we, for example, record the sound by sound in order to make tracks. And the software developers try to emulate and try to make old analog equipment available in a software format. So we are still quite conventional thinkers when it comes to the studio as a concept. Another thing I would like to mention is that when we went to the studio 25 years ago, we had a sound producer who was the god of everything that was happening here, because he was in charge of the technology, and he had the last thing. He could just decide how to change things quite radical. Today we have the possibility to do that ourselves. The music producer Brian Eno already in 1978 proposed that the studio was one of the tools that would get most attention for compositional work in the future. Of course, yes, right in that, in how we make music today, but at the same time, it's hard to imagine that he could have foreseen the democratization of the technology as we see it present here. So, what I'm really interested in now is to try to bring the sound studio to the stage, because I have now available a lot of the tools in my laptop, which I formerly had to go into the studio to explore. The first thing that happened when I tried to introduce the studio technology in the rehearsal room was that as a band member, the whole dynamics within the band changed, because the guy or the girl in charge of the technology has a lot more to say about the decisions being made than the others. So the kind of a flat structure in the band working together changed dramatically. So I'm very occupied at the moment to try to democratize the use of technology within different groups as well. So I think for the first step in order to bring the studios to the stage is, of course, to bring the studio to the rehearsal rooms and try to flatten the structure so that everyone is in charge of the technology. As a guitar player, it's quite hard to control the studio at the same time as you play your instrument, because both hands are occupied. So it's hard to imagine how to get all the faders and everything to get going at the same time as you concentrate on your instrument. Depends which kind of instruments you play. For most guitarists, as many of you probably are, we have the foot pedals, which we can control different sounds with during playing without interfering with our playing techniques. But sometimes you need something more in order to get the music out. One premise in order to get the sound studio out to the stage is that you need to listen to the same thing, because you're not only a musician anymore, you are a producer at the same time, so you can not only concentrate on your rhythmical and tonal performance, you have to listen to the production as a whole. So maybe it's a different way of listening to the music as well, because you have to listen to the same thing. Through my work, I'm also very occupied in composition with using environmental sounds that surrounds us in daily life. As a former metal musician, of course, most interested in industrial noise. use this in both in composition, but I also explore it in a way with a synthesis that enables me to filter different instrumental sounds through recordings of environmental sounds, so you get sort of a hybrid between the two worlds, which I find quite interesting. So first of all, I'm going to just show some possibilities for the guitar. As you see, the interfaces I've used here is mainly to control everything. It's a cellular phone. It helps me call technical support. No, it enables me to control the different parameters in my studio, both statically and dynamically, as I play. So the way it's placed is so it shouldn't interfere with my playing signal. So I'll just show you an example of it. This enables me to control both hardware and software in my instrument. For example, with effects and things like that. So it enables me in another way to widen my range of control over the studio at the same time as I play. What's important for me with bringing the studio to stage is that playing a concert is about interaction between different players, and it's very hard to get loose from the studio idea where you play in separate time and space when doing a recording, and how is it possible to maintain the interaction you have and the communication at the same time as you play. So I have invited a very great drummer today called Rune Hoemsnes, who will try to help me out, see if we can do something with this equipment. So what we have done is that I have a guitar system, and also we have the drums through the studio system as well. I'll try as good as I can to control that while we play.
Thank you very much.